Hello, my fourth grade friends. Welcome back to the art room. Mrs. O'Neill, your art teacher here. Okay, so today's lesson is going to be a follow-up on last week's lesson. So last week's lesson, we learned about abstract representational art. Of course, that is art where we can tell what the artist is representing in the work, but it's not realistic. It's abstracted. It's a little bit different. All right. So we did this landscape together. All right. Today we're going to be working on, first I'm going to show you how to make an abstract representational face, and then we're going to do a printmaking project. Yes, printmaking project, sweet. All right. So first, the first part of this project, and I kind of prepared this one first, just so that if any of my friends forgot to go on Monday, this is Monday, today is Monday. All right. If you forgot to go today and get your printmaking packet through the drive-through at the elementary school where the mascot is the tiger. If you're one of my friends who attends that school and you forgot to go to the drive-through, get your printmaking packet, you can do this one at home. But hopefully you go through the drive-through and you remember to go get your printmaking packet that I made for you. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. Friends who, if you're at the elementary school where the mascot is the bumblebee. I'm not over there yet. We'll explain that at the end of the video, but I'm not over there yet. So I haven't sent anything home for you quite yet. So just hold tight for that because that'll be later. But if you're at my school where the tiger is the mascot, in today's Monday pickup, there will be a printmaking packet waiting for you. All right, so make sure that you pick that up. Come to the school, pick that up, so you can do that this week with us on this video. So to start with, though, let's do this project. So you're going to need a pencil and a paper for this. Go ahead and grab a pencil and a paper. All right, I'm going to be using my whiteboard for this, as you know, as I tend to do. On your paper, start by going ahead and drawing a nice large oval. That oval is going to be that head. All right. The head part of this, that oval, all right, nice and big on your paper. Normally I have like face shapes that you can trace, but we got to freehand it this year. That's totally fine. So go ahead and draw that oval for the face, all right. Next, go ahead and draw 2 lines down for a neck, and then 2 lines off the page for the shoulders, okay. Then divide the face in half. Now, as usual, just like with this one where I kind of showed you step by step, but you could still kind of use your own freedom to kind of change things around a little bit. This one's going to be the same way. I'm going to show you how to do this, but feel free to, if you're like, I'm going to change this up, I'm going to add this, maybe I do this a little differently, do that, okay? I'm just showing you the basics like of what you could do. So go ahead and divide the face in half. I usually use a zigzag line, but maybe you want to use a different kind of line. Maybe you want to make the line going a different way. Maybe you want to cut the face in half this way instead of that way. All right, that's up to you. All right, so went ahead in the face in half. So this is one of those works of art. Last lesson, I showed you some pictures of faces that are abstract representational, which is our vocab word that we're learning, vocab phrase, I should say, that we're learning. This is abstract representational art. So we can tell that this is a face, but it's not realistic, right? It's funky. The artist has changed some stuff. I went ahead and for one half of the face, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw an eyeball. Fourth grade friends, an eyeball. All right, and that's just a football. Just like in our self-portrait project, we used footballs for eyeballs. And then I'm gonna draw that eyelid. So I'm gonna go from here, from this corner, over to that corner, and I'm gonna go ahead and draw a circle in there. I might, on this side, I might decide, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and draw this sideways this time, making it kind of funky. So on this picture, you can see one face is facing this way, and then one face is to the side facing this way. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add eyebrows. That's just that shape. So there we go. Maybe add a nostril. So you're basically adding face parts, but they don't have to be in the same spot as the face parts would normally be. You don't have to have the same amount. It's really up to you. Maybe I'd draw a mouth on this side. There you go. But make it as funky as you want. Maybe add some designs to it. You can see I kind of added some designs over here. There you go. All right, so that's up to you. Maybe add a nose over here. So you get the idea. You can tell it's a face, but it doesn't look like a realistic face. All right, then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add some hair. You don't have to add hair. That's up to you. I'm just going to draw some waves coming off. Right, and then a t-shirt. I did like a zigzag t-shirt with some circles. That's up to you. Like I said, that's your choice. And then draw that and then color it in with whatever you got at home. Remember, use what you got. I always like to add a little something in the background, so I tend to add shapes and lines and stuff in the background to make it look extra funky. Right, so that's up to you, but that's how to do that. And then let's talk about our printmaking project. Okay, so I sent these home in the drive-thru. So if you didn't get this, like I said, if you didn't pick this up today or you forget to pick it up and it's past October 15th, you could always just do that project this week. If you forgot to pick this up or you haven't been able to pick this up, you could do that project. Take a picture of this project here that you did and then send that to me as one of your 3 due by October 15th. Remember, if you're at the school where the tiger is the mascot, you have 3 art projects due by October 15th. So make sure you do those, okay? But other than that, let's go talk to our friends who maybe you've already picked this up. All right, this is your printmaking packet. I made one of these for every 4th grader here at the elementary school where the tiger is the mascot. Let's talk a little bit about what's in them. So first off, they have directions on them, which is great. This is the 4th grade printmaking packet, and it says follow Mrs. O's, that's me, YouTube art lesson on printmaking. That would be this video right here. So follow this video to see what you got to do, all right, to make this work, to be able to print make. All right, so I gave you some goodies in here, all right? And you'll see a note in here that just tells you, it's a little pink post-it that says, please wash and return paintbrush. Keep everything else. So it means what it says. Everything else in this packet, keep this paintbrush when you're done with it. When you're done doing this project, only return this paintbrush when you're done actually doing this project, right? But when you're done doing this project, please wash this paintbrush that I sent you and then put it back in the baggie if you still have the baggie and turn that in. So return it back to the drive-thru the next week or whenever, like turn it in to the drive-thru so that it can get back to me because these are some of our class paintbrushes. So please just send the paintbrush back. Everything else you get to keep. All right, so you've got a paintbrush for this. I gave you 3 pieces, 3 magical pieces of printmaking paper. This is the same kind of paper that like real, very serious artists, printmaking artists use. Okay, so this is very special paper. All right, so I gave you very fancy. You so fancy, huh? I gave you some fancy printmaking paper for this. All right. I also gave you a little piece of copy paper. Okay, this is like computer paper, and I gave you a piece of styrofoam. And the styrofoam, you can see it's kind of shiny, and it feels a little bit thicker than this copy paper does. Right, this copy paper is pretty thin. This is a little bit thicker. Right, they're roughly the same size. That's for a reason. But I went ahead and gave you a piece of copy paper and a piece of styrofoam. Okay, I also gave you a little bottle of paint, okay, that you get to keep. Yes, this is yours now. Yay! All right, I gave you a little bottle of paint. I have a different color than you do. You probably have a different color than somebody else. I just put a color in a bag, so you ended up with a color of paint that we can use for our printmaking, right? And this is how this works, okay? So you're going to need, for this project, in addition to what I gave you in the goodie bag, all right, you're going to need a pencil or a pen, just something that is like kind of sharp and pointy that you can write with or draw with. Okay, so just give me something pointy. A pencil would be preferable, so if you have a pencil, that'd be great. All right, you're gonna need a little bit of tape. It's not really, that's one of those ones I'll show you how to kind of finagle it, so you don't need that, but this is one of those ones that if you have some form of tape, that would be helpful, and you just need a teeny tiny bit of it. And then you're going to need a palette, essentially, and a palette can be anything, and because our motto of the art room is use what you got, right? That's especially this year, the motto is use what you got. So I'm actually just going to use this plastic cup as my paint. I'm going to put a little paint in here, but you can use anything really. Make sure you get permission for whatever you choose to use. So if it's somebody else's, make sure you ask. But a little bit of tin foil. I've used so many things in my art career here. I have used so many different things as a paint palette. It's really just, a paint palette is really just something that's going to hold that paint for you to be able to dip your brush in. So it could be a piece of paper. It could be a piece of aluminum foil. It could be, even if you're like, I really don't have anything, use this bag. put a little bit of paint on the bag, you know, but just don't put it like on a table or anything. Put it on like something that you can dispose of afterwards, something easy to clean up. So I know that this is disposable, so I can clean this up easily. You know, if you really, really need to, and if you get permission, you might be able to ask a grown-up at home if you can use like a plate or something and just wash the plate when you're done. Make sure you wash it because this stuff will dry and get gross, right? But I would recommend like a paper towel or a piece of aluminum foil or another piece of, you could even use like find a scrap piece of paper lying around and use that, or a Post-it or something, but use something that kind of protects your surface area that you're working on that can hold paint. So go ahead and problem solve that out for me and get yourself a receptacle to put paint in. Go ahead and do that. Pause the video if you need to pause the video while you're getting all your materials set up, and then unpause it when you're ready to continue. All right, so next step. So this is what we're going to do. You've got all your materials out ready to go. You've got something to put your paint in. You've got your paintbrush. You've got your paint. You've got your 3 sheets of paper, a big paper, the professional paper. You fancy, huh? You got your styrofoam printing plate is what we're going to call this. It's a piece of styrofoam, but we're going to use it professionally as a printing plate. And then you've got a little piece of copy paper. This lesson is going to start with the copy paper. So get the copy paper and get that pencil, or maybe you've got a pen. Like I said, I recommend a pencil if you got one, but if you got a pen, that'll still work, okay? All right, so get that pencil, paper. Go ahead and draw for me something abstract representational. I would recommend, if you're nervous and you're like, I don't know what to make, just draw a face, like maybe this one, right? So maybe I'm going to draw that oval, divide it with that squiggly line, and draw the eyeballs, kind of silly. This is where I'm at. There you go. So it's up to you, but draw something. The point of this project is to reinforce the idea of abstract representational art. So I want you to be thinking abstract representationally. So something that's not realistic, but you can still tell what it's supposed to be, you know, just like our previous lessons on that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Maybe I'll add a mouth over here, maybe a nose over here, eyebrows in strange places. There you go. Make a funky looking person. All right. Once you've drawn your design on your copy paper, all right, and I would add plenty of detail to that. The more detail you do for this particular, for printmaking in particular, the more detail you put, the better it's going to look, the cooler it'll look. So I did mine pretty quickly, but I would add more detail, add a little bit more stuff to it, just because it'll look cooler that way, honestly. And I would know. I've done this many, many times. All right, so I've got my little abstract representational work of art, okay? Next, I'm going to take that printing plate, that's that styrofoam, piece of styrofoam that I've got. I'm going to take this copy paper. I'm going to put the copy paper on top of the styrofoam. So the styrofoam's back here, copy paper's right here, right? And the copy paper, you can see the drawing is facing me. I want the drawing to be facing me, okay? I'm going to take some tape, a little piece of tape. Doesn't require much, just a little bit of tape. Any kind of tape works. A little bit of tape. Stick that tape right on the drawing and then fold it so that it's stuck to the styrofoam, okay? If you don't have tape at all, if there's like no tape at home and you can't do this, just try your best when you're doing this next step. Just hold it in place as best as you can. That's totally fine too. That's something that you can make work, okay? So, but I went ahead and I put a piece of tape on it so that it would kind of hold my paper. The point of the tape is to kind of hold your paper in place while you're tracing, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that pencil or pen, whatever you're using, right, and I'm going to trace over my design. What's going to happen, because the design is on top of the styrofoam, okay, it's going to push the design into the styrofoam, which is what I want it to do, okay? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start tracing over this. I have to trace over every line that I've drawn in order to get it to push into the styrofoam. And I'm going to push hard while I'm tracing. So you can see I've traced over the face line. You can tell it's really dark because I was pushing hard on the pencil to get it to push in. All right, and that's, you got to be really careful because I was only able to give you one printing plate, one piece of styrofoam. So you got to be really careful when you're doing this while you're tracing. All right, but go ahead and trace all of your lines into the styrofoam. Push down really hard. Okay, showing my progress there. I'm tracing, right? And then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've traced over every single line. I took my pencil and pushed really hard over every single line on my design. And now if I lift it up, I can even see, you might even be able to see the lines have gone into the styrofoam. So I can now take off the design. So I'm going to peel the tape off. Take the design off, this copy paper design. You can keep it if you want to keep it. It might be something that you want to keep. If not, this is not something you're interested in keeping, just throw it away. All right, but I tend to keep mine just because I think they're kind of fun. All right, kind of fun little things. All right, so I'm going to set that over to the side because I don't need it anymore. All right, and then this printing plate, all right, this styrofoam piece is my printing plate. All right, next I'm going to get that palette. Like I said, use whatever you got. I'm using a plastic cup. Maybe you've got a paper plate or aluminum foil or a Post-it or something to put your paint on. All right, put some paint into something that you can kind of get your, oh, I got purple. Look at that. All right, get your paintbrush. Get a little bit of paint on your brush. Okay, a little bit of paint on my brush. Okay. So my brush, I gave you all like these kind of flat brushes, and what you're going to do with this brush and this paint, all right? And this is like, I want to point out, this is like not expensive, fancy stuff. This is stuff that you can get at Walmart for like 50 cents. So this is not anything super duper special. It's just paint, and normally printmakers use ink, but we're going to be using paint, just a little more affordable. But ink is something that printmaker would use, very similar in consistency. So we can make this work with paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paintbrush with the paint on it and take my styrofoam printing plate, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the paint on the plate. Right, and I'm going to do so pretty lightly, to be honest, just because I don't want, if you goop this plate up with too much paint, all of that paint's going to get really goopy and seep into all of those lines, and it's not going to work as well for you. So you want to put a nice light layer, is what I would call it, a light layer of paint on your printing plate, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, putting a light layer of this purple, I've got purplicious purple paint here, put a light layer of paint on there, okay? And then I'm going to set this over here, there we go. And then get your paper that I gave you, okay? Put the paper on top of the printing plate. So the printing plate, the ink is facing up, right? I'm going to put this paper on top of that ink, all right? Remember, that's our paint. All right, I'm going to put that on top, and then I'm going to press down. So what I'm doing right now, what it looks like right now is the printing plate is, you know, right underneath it. I've put the paper on top. I've kind of pressed down a little bit to make sure that the lines are going in, so I'm getting that print. Sorry, we had a brief announcement right there over the intercom. But you're going to have that paper on top of the printing plate, so the paint is on the paper, and then I'm going to peel the paper off of it, okay? And that's going to result in a print, okay? So you can kind of see how that kind of transferred. Think of this really as a stamp. That's really what printmaking is. Printmaking is you build the stamp, you know, into something, you carve into it, or, you know, carve out of it. Design, and then you put some ink or paint on it in this case, and then put a paper on it, and then when you peel it off, it kind of transfers those lines into the paper, right? So do that a few times, enjoy, practice a little bit with your printmaking skills, and make a few prints of your stuff. If it comes out a little too goopy, if it looks a little bit too, a little too goopy, try rinsing off your styrofoam plate under some running water. So take it to the sink or something, rinse it off, and then put paint on it again, and just make sure it's a very light layer. All right, normally when we're in here and we're doing printmaking, I only have a couple of these, which is why I couldn't give you these, so which is why we couldn't use them. I only have a couple of these rollers, but normally we have little rollers that you kind of roll paint onto your printing plate, but that's okay. We're going to just use what we got. So we're going to use our paintbrush to just put a light layer of paint on your printing plate, put the paper, take the paper, put it on top, and then peel it off, and you'll be able to see that design. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Take pictures if this is one of the ones you want to turn in by October 15th. If you're at the elementary school where the tiger is the mascot, take a picture of your print or prints. Take a picture of them and then send that to me through Remind or to my email address. Make sure you do that to turn in your work. My email address, remember to include the KO apostrophe in there. So KO apostrophe NEIL at stanton.k12.va.us, all that goodness. Okay, so make sure you do that to be able to turn it in to me to get that good credit for October 15th for those friends who were at the elementary school where the tiger is the mascot. So I was with you guys for the first 9 weeks. I'm about to go over to my friends at the elementary school where the bumblebee is the mascot. I'm about to go over there to be with them for the second 9 weeks. Okay, so you guys over here at the elementary school where the tiger is the mascot, you'll be having music. If you have any questions about how that will roll, if you have any questions about music, please contact your administrator, so that'd be your principal. So reach out and contact them with any questions about how that's going to work. Please don't ask me any questions about that, just because you're going to get better information from them. But you can definitely ask me questions about art and how art's going to work. So you've had me so far for the first 9 weeks, friends at the tiger mascot school. All right, I'm about to go over to my friends who go to the elementary school where the bumblebee is the mascot. Hi, friends. All right, so I'm about to be there. I'm going to be working with them for the second 9 weeks. So those friends, you'll see me from October 19th to December 18th. So that would be the second 9 weeks. All right. So if you're at the elementary school where the tiger is the mascot, you don't have anything due in the second 9 weeks, okay, for art. Okay, you don't have any art due in the second 9 weeks. You can still, I would still bookmark this YouTube channel on your browser, like kind of star it so that you can easily kind of click on it and check it, because I'm going to still try to update with weekly art videos. So if you're like interested in still being able to see art lessons and check out what the art room is doing, I would bookmark this and check it from time to time in your free time during the second 9 weeks. So that will still be available. Like I said, I can't promise that it'll be weekly updates. I'm not sure how my schedule is going to work over there, so I just need to like check and see. But I'm going to try to keep updating this channel with stuff for you friends. All right, friends who are at the school, switching gears. Friends, hello friends. It's long time no see. Friends who are at the school where the bumblebee is the mascot. You guys have been having music, and then now you're about to have art. Like I said, from October 19th to December 18th. So I'll be over there and we'll be doing some fun art projects over there. So you will have those friends at the school where the bumblebee is the mascot. You're going to have some art stuff due in December. So keep that in mind, and I'll be contacting you soon. All right. Bye, guys. See you later. I hope you had fun doing some printmaking. Like I said, I hope I made it as easy as I could possibly do with as least. I try to make it, design it so it'd be as easy with as few materials as possible. Please remember to wash your paintbrush and then put it back in the bag if you still have the bag, and send it back to the school, or just send the paintbrush back for next week's drive-through. Make sure you do that. Send those back because we need these back. But everything else you can keep. So keep your printing plate, keep your papers, keep your little paint bottle that's yours now. Okay, just send back my paintbrush to me. All right, bye guys.